but to let the army help control the situation. Lieutenant General Ranjit Singh Dayal, advisor to the Governor of Punjab, said,
"As all of you know, Indian Army is a very religious army. Once the orders are given to them, they follow to the letter. They have been told this is a shrine which is very important to not only the Sikhs, to all Indians, and it will have to be saved at all cost."
5th of June 1984. It had been exactly 1,000 days of terror in Punjab from the day journalist Jagat Narayan was murdered on the highway on the 9th of September 1981. The Indian Army entered the Golden Temple to restore its sanctity. Major General Kuldeep Singh Brar, Divisional Commander, committed to the operations in the Golden Temple complex at Amritsar, describes the sequence of the actual operations in the site.
Important features on this enlargement: Jallianwala Bagh, Hotel Temple View, Akhar, Baba Atal Gurdwara, Manji Sahab, the walls enclosing the main Golden Temple complex, Parikrama all around the Sarovar itself, Harmandir Sahib, which is the main sanctum sanctorium of this complex, Akal Takht, which was the headquarters of Bhindranwala and all the extremists. As far as the extremists are concerned, the layout of their defenses were extremely well planned. They made very skillful use of ground. They made very skillful use of their firepower, and they sited their defenses in such a way that they brought down effective fire on us, not only within the Golden Temple complex, but even in the approaches towards the Golden Temple complex. On the periphery, you see a large number of houses. These houses, about 20 of them in number, 3-storied, in some cases 4-storied, were occupied by the extremists. Not only did these houses give them early warning, but also extremely good ink. I had also information that the extremists with explosives had planned to blow up the Akal Takht and, if necessary, Harmandir Sahib, if they felt at some stage the game was up and they wished to discredit the army and the government of India, so that world over they would be able to project an image that the Akal Takht and the Harmandir Sahib have been blown up. I had tasked a team of commandos to get into the Akal Takht and defuse any explosive systems that they could come across, so that such an situation doesn't arise. I had infantry tasked to get in from the main entrance and fan out on both sides and get a foothold onto the northern extremity. I also had infantry to break in from the eastern gate and start moving them their way towards the Akal Takht and secure the southern flank. Whereas, as I said earlier, the commandos were to dash in and carry out their job in the Akal Takht. That their fortifications were so heavy and their fire so much that I started suffering very heavy casualties on the Parikrama. These walls and buildings, some of them 3-storied, were occupied on rooftops, the 3rd floor, the 2nd floor, the 1st floor, as well as the ground floor. They had openings in the walls. They had certain underground shelters or manholes. They emerged from these manholes, fired away at us, got back into these manholes, which were interconnected by tunnels and underground shelters,
and appeared elsewhere. So as you can see, the design of battle was initially to take us on from the periphery.
The extremists who were sitting on top, on the first floor and the roof floor, my infantry which was moving directly below them, came under grenades. And these were very lethal grenades, a large number of which had been constructed by them in a grenade factory, very innocuously located on top of the eastern gate. So grenades were being hurled down, whereas automatic fire and rifle fire was being directed on my troops who were coming on into this area. The commandos who had rushed and suffered casualties during their rush had been able to get onto this particular spot near Nisan Sahab. They came now under very heavy fire from Harminder Sahab, from the Akal Takht, and from the buildings across. And I suffered heavy commando casualties. Nonetheless, a stage did come towards about 2 o'clock or so in the morning of the 6th, by which time I had managed a foothold on the northern enclosure as well as on the southern enclosure. We were able to surround the SGPC office, and having entered, Mr. Longowal and Mr. Thora, out of the 9 continuing this fight any further. Out of the 90 commandos which went into this particular